Hello, everyone. Kenyon here, Basketball Rewind, and welcome to the new year. New dues, new whatever. Let's get it cracking. And we're being a bit positive in the new year, as what I said, but we'll see how long that lasts. That being said, we're going to talk about a couple different topics. Obviously, CMB and his ability to kind of like carve out minutes in the Darko of it all. We're going to talk about Raptors trade rumors and all that at the very end and get into a little bit of an interesting topic, which is going to be the Raptors and how they've done throughout the season from an offensive standpoint, which is not how people thought, although the defense has held up. Okay, let's get into it. So, CMB had a couple games. He started a couple games. He has been undersized. I'm happy that I like I said, I think that the kid's a winning player. I'm not here telling people like, oh, he's gonna be Luka, right? Like, chill on that. But what I am saying is that I think that he on multiple different teams in the NBA, he can carve out a role. And so I think that he's proving that, and we're seeing the results of it. And I think the thing is he's had some quotes come out of the past few games because he's had multiple games, two double doubles and he's had multiple 15. One was I should say at least 12 rebound games, but one was a 15 rebound games. And the biggest thing to me has not been his ability on the defensive end to get boards, but more on the offensive end. He's had some 6-7 plus rebounding board games. And just to kind of finish it all off, the quotes that he gave about rebounding, where he was like, I'm not just in the weight room just to mess around. Like, I like that. Boardman gets paid. All right, we'll start off with that. I'll go to you, then I'll go to Coach.
Well, I think a few weeks ago, I'm not sure if Coach joined us that day, but it was one of these days where we were talking about folks were quarreling about, oh my gosh, these young guys and stuff like that. And at the time, I said, the way this team's actually get elevation is if the young guys actually play minutes, because that's where they can actually grow as a team. And now we are seeing it come to fruition. Unfortunately, it had to come through injury for it to happen, which is how the Raptors do it all the time, it seems like, instead of actually just letting guys play consistent minutes every night. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. I mean, if he's out there for 25, 30 minutes, he's going to get a double-double. I am
Yeah,
like, he just shows up for 30 minutes, he's going to be something like 14 and 10.
he'll at least have double-digit rebounds
Right.
at minimum.
I think he's going to get double-digit points. If he's hanging out there for 30 minutes, he's going to get double-digit points.
Potentially.
Yeah, because he's going to get a couple, just to your point, he's going to get a couple on the offensive rebounding. He's going to knock down a few shots. He's going to get a couple in transition. And before you blink twice, and another thing too, which is something, God bless him in this case here, ironically, is it's the young guys that seem to be the only ones to be able to do it, and hit them and RJ, is he gets the free throw line. It's like, what a great.
Yeah, he does.
He gets the free throw line, lo and behold. So that combination alone, at least for me, from a fan viewership standpoint, I love seeing young players get the opportunity to grow and watching them kind of develop. So that's good for that standpoint. He's a top 10 pick. He should be playing at least, in my mind, about 25 to 30 minutes at least. So that's good to see. I think also, too, he has a certain mentality. We mentioned that. Even though I was not fond of the pick, I'm not backing off of that. I still am not fond of the pick, even though he's on my team. That is me conceptually. I got my own issues that we would get into with that. I still have very lingering concerns that I still see. But overall, what I did like about it was he's get after it. Like, he's get after it. And I never have to think like, oh, you know what? We drafted him. Is like, well, maybe on the Tuesday night he might decide to go. No, I know when I sit on my couch, the old couch test, I know what I'm getting from him if he plays 25, 30 minutes every night. And that's what you need, reliability from at least about 6 to 7 guys on your team. To be
he had a quote on that too, where I think it was Grange. I said S originally. My bad. It was Grange that actually asked him about being tired, I believe, and he was like, "If you're not tired, you're not doing it right."
Right.
Like, it's like, yes. Yes.
Thank you. Like, this dude here says it's a 10-year vet. Thank you.
Someone reminded me. I don't want to quote the person wrong or say attribute it to the wrong person. It wasn't mainstream Raptors nation. Someone said he's kind of like the Kyle Lowry of like of his position in a way, in terms of the mentality and whatnot. I think that's an interesting thing, because he definitely has a little bit of dog in him. And he finds ways, even if he's not scoring a ton of points, he finds ways to always contribute, and it does show up on the scoreboard too. So yeah.
Yeah, I just think he's just got very much an old school mentality, which maybe is just, it seems refreshing nowadays because maybe it's not seen as much.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, man, whatever you want to call it. Jack would say they put on your hard hat, your lunch pail, right? You know, that's what it is, man. So like, I think he's kind of one of those type of guys which it would ingratiate him to this fan base, right?
Yeah,
For all the guys
coach.
that, for all the guys that
Oh,
read
sorry.
the Sun, with no disrespect in this case here, but there's certain, we know they have audience for certain papers. That's for our Toronto Sun guys. That's what
Yes.
he's about,
Yes.
and that's cool. That's what he's about, and he's about that business. Because I must admit, this team has a bit of I hate it. I know it's not a term you like, but I think sometimes
It's soft.
it's soft. Yes. But yeah, that's it, Coach.
Well, it's good to be back. It's been a while since I've
Hey.
been here, doing the new parent stuff, getting busy. But in terms of CMB, like Beyond, I had some comments back in the summer that questioned the pick, but never the effort, never his game. Defensively, he's been really good. I love his effort, fighting for rebounds. There is something simplistic about his game, and that's what I like, actually. He knows his game. I know we've kind of discussed this at length for a little while now. He doesn't try to force anything, which is good. And I'm starting to see him in more Scotty minutes together. I like it in spurts. Now, is that going to take down the top 5 or 6 teams in the East right now? No, you're too small. You're not going to take down the Knicks. Not with Mitch and Cat or Hart. You're not going to take down Boston with Cato. You're not going to take down Cleveland. I know we beat Cleveland this year. You're not going to take down Allen and Mobley. So I like what CMB is bringing right now. I like him in his role that he's kind of been in the bench role. I like him and Mamu together off the bench because they bring a little bit of different games. CMB brings more of the defensive effort, the rebounding effort. Mamu brings more of the outside shooting. I think that can kind of coexist fairly well. But when you're 6'6" or 6'7", uh, playing center, you're 230 or 240. There ain't many guys in the history of the NBA been able to do that effectively. I'm not a knock against him. This is a knock against roster construction. Even the pick is a knock against roster construction of this team. It's not him. I like his game. He plays hard, like he said in his press conference. He lifts weight. My high school coach used to say, "Boy, it's hard to move the big body." He was referring to Charles Barkley. And you're right. It is hard to move the big body when you're in there. And he's got a sturdy body, and that makes it that helps him out on the boards. Because you can have effort and you can really go after, but you also need a little bit of size to do that. So and you have to have awareness too on the court. You have to have a sense of where the ball's kind of going to go. Dennis Rodman was great at that. He just kind of, I think he said on one show, like he could tell when the ball came off a guy's fingers where it would go on the rim. And
he used to time. He used to time in his head.
Exactly. So just stuff like that. That's elite, by the way. But I like what CMB is bringing so far as a rookie. I was a little concerned at first because he had some injuries. I'm like, I don't like this. But he seems to be doing okay. And, I like what he brings to this team.
His court awareness, to me, has been impressive. And that's why I look more at the offensive boards. Because there's two things. Number one, he has a lot of these ones where he's like slipping in. Right? He's not going over the top. He's slipping in and then boxing a guy out and getting. And it's just really good positioning, really good timing, and he's just very aware of like where everyone else is looking. That's one. The second thing is, while he has a big body, he's kind of twinkle toes a little bit. He's light on his feet, and the fact that him and Scotty are trying to finding a way to work as well together as a tandem defensively is not an issue at all. but offensively they're kind of figuring their way out a little bit. That's also good to see. So I think it's good. And again, I'm not on the opposite side of you guys. You know where I stood, but I just I want to see where it is, and I was hoping that Bobby.
Here's what I hope does.
Figure
I
it
hope
out.
this doesn't happen to the. Yeah, I am concerned for the young man in one sense, and I know I can see it already starting to happen a little bit. Is that when they play so many close games, and I can see a scenario like this where, late in the game we're trying to get a possession, he's underneath the hoop battling with some other bigs, and he's unfortunately can't finish around the hoop late in the game or can't.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my point.
And I can hear it already. What the heck? How come you can't grab the rebound? And this goes back to coach's point.
Yeah.
This comes down to roster construction. He is what he is. He's 6'7" on a good day.
Yeah.
Right? He's 6'7" on a good day. And if that's the case, that's gonna be a problem. It's a limitation that you can't get around when you deal with 7-footers. And I hope that folks don't kind of kill him on that, because it is what it is, and he provides a lot. That's I've seen it a few times. I think I saw it the other day against Boston, a couple of times underneath the hoop with Quaid and some other fellas. He just couldn't finish underneath there.
Yeah, he's shooting 30, almost just a touch below 37% on the season, 36.6 or whatever. And at the end of the day, I look at him in this way, is that he's partially shooting that because he knows his game. He's not forcing his game. I expect that to improve throughout the years as he builds his game out, because it's really more for him the handle more than anything. He has the control, but he needs a slightly tighter handle. He has the footwork as well. I think he will figure it out, but he has to, over time, kind of move away from the basket to be most effective and have a longevity of a career. Because if he's just going to be a 6'7" center, it's going to be a rough career. Very short-lived, and I think that there are ways for him to be more effective by pulling him out and making him at least a power forward, if not a small forward, which is the direction I see long-term.
Well, my worry about him, and Scotty would be lumped into this too, because let's face it, Scotty's maybe an inch taller than him, inch and a half max. When you're going up and you're playing Embiid and Jokic and Mitch and Cat and Allen, these guys are a lot bigger than those guys, and you worry about injuries. Quite honestly, if you're guarding someone 4 or 5 inches taller than you, or 20 to 30 pounds more, that's something that I worry about. See, when you have an actual center out there, or two, then you don't have to worry about kind of the physical toll that it can take on someone.
If you're playing the Knicks, man, you better get your pads and your helmet playing Cat, man. He had me so upset the other night against Detroit. Like, dude, and I called it too, because you can see it getting out of hand. He'd be playing a little reckless sometimes. He is
reckless. He is reckless.
Like you pound Kate right in the where, and then the next play he almost caught someone with the elbow. I said, this get out of hand real fast. And fortunately, it was like a 20-something point lead that day, and they kind of pulled everyone at the next break. It's like, he need to come out. And some guys like that just play reckless already to begin with. And to your point, Embiid to some extent too. I think he's worse than Embiid, honestly. I didn't think so. So
there's a reason why they have had some issues throughout their career, is that both of them are kind of reckless, and then they get into it a little bit. So
no, he's been good seeing. I think he's been a nice story in the last few weeks for the Raptors.
Yeah. So I going into that, we're seeing that the defense has stabilized into a top 5, we'll say, top 4 or 5 defense throughout the season. And yet their defense has held up, even though Poeltl has only played 21 games. And the games that he has played has not been great. He has not looked remotely close to being an NBA player because of his back when he is out there so far. It doesn't matter his size or anything. So I guess my question is why do you think, yes, CMB, Scotty together has, some good defensive lineups, but that's more recent. What do you attribute it to? Obviously, Darko has gone away from Darkoism, or Delaneyism, if you will, if you want to attribute it to him. They've gone away from the big talk that they kind of put out and kind of brought in a more conservative style and made it work, even though they still have Brandon Ingram at times, who is a space cadet, and Quickley is Quickley. Coach, I'll go back to you first, and then we'll go to Beyond.
Well, I have to attribute Scotty and CMB for their defensive efforts this year, for sure. I think Scotty leads the league in stocks right now, blocks and steals, or I know Wemby's back, that might change pretty quickly. But Scotty's defense has been really good for this team. Murray-Boyles' defense has been very good as well. Um, I think it just goes back, and I credit the coaching staff a little bit with this. They had a philosophy back at Summer League. They wanted to defend. Their offense stunk in Summer League, but they didn't care. They just wanted to play defense. And they did. And that kind of philosophy has somewhat carried into the season because this team really shouldn't be top five in defense without a center. If you told me that before the season started, that we were going to spend most of the season without Poeltl to date, and we're going to be top five in defense, I would have been like, oh, we fired Darko and staff, we have a new staff in, and we traded a bunch of people. But it's predominantly the same team. Ingram has given more buy-in too in defense here than he did in New Orleans. We've seen some, pretty important blocks that he's making in some games. Immanuel Quickley's in the 66th percentile for defense. That's not nothing. It's above average, I would say. Okay? Grady Dick, for all of Grady's struggles offensively, he's actually playing decent defense this year, which I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, the last point, and I hate harping on Grady so much, but it's like, I think Grange had a tweet about this too, where he said basically that he's improved in all these other areas, but the one that matters.
The one that he was drafted for.
Yeah, but the thing is when you talk to people about Grady, they're immediately like, no, come on now, he's bad on defense. It's like, he's gotten a lot better, and he's no longer like he's not a liability where he's getting, he shouldn't, in my opinion, if he's losing minutes, it shouldn't, in my opinion, it's not because of defense. At least in recent times. There's a game here or there, but it's by and large, he's doing what he's been asked of on defense, and he's not being put in, out on an island. Sure, it's not perfect. Yes, the foot speed could be better, but I think that, we really got to, folks, we really got to flip the narrative on that like he's no longer should be seen as like abysmal on defense. It may not be his strong suit, and it never will be, never was going to be, but I don't think that it's such a negative that it's like, oh my gosh, he's not defending at an NBA level, and he can't defend even bench players at an NBA level. That's not true.
Just one more point, and that's kind of what's different between this year and last year.
Yeah.
Ochai, oddly enough, was one of their better defenders last year. That's how bad they were. You can't even play him this year. One, he can't shoot at all this year. He can't hit corner threes, which he made a lot last
and
year.
Yet.
But Darko went with Jacobe. Jacobe's getting those minutes now, and he's made the right move by that. Jacobe ain't scared. He's seeing on defense and offense. He'll pick up the best player on defense. That's 100%. What I like about him. So they're giving him an opportunity, and his defense looks pretty good this year.
Yeah. And it means that you can succeed without, especially, this is why I keep telling folks, if you want to get a center, because I saw someone put out a list of center targets for the Raptors, and it started off with Brook Lopez, and I was like, well, Brook Lopez is 40, right? And you're gonna spend assets on, because you're not gonna get him for free. You're gonna spend a player, say it's Ochai, but then you also have to include a pick for a guy that's probably gonna retire in a year or two, who's not playing, at his peak, physical performance, right? Do you want a center like that? It's like we gotta move away from these band-aid solutions, and that's been my whole thing this entire year, even beyond this year, but especially this year. I'm like, I don't mind making a move. I don't mind even making a move to make the team better, but there has to be a purpose with it. Can't just be, well, this year is it, and then who cares? Because you give up a future pick, let's say, all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, Brook Lopez ain't here no more, right? So why did we give up the 2027 second round pick, for Brook Lopez? So I think that's where I kind of look at, and it's kind of I think a good segue to kind of start talking about the trades that have gone down and the trade rumors. So, yeah, let's get into it. Trae got traded. Raptors were interested. I didn't think that they actually were interested. Funny enough, the day that he got traded, the night that he got traded, I had a whole kind of both a short and a long form podcast lined up to basically be like, this is why we should not trade for Trae Young. But I think that there was a case for it, but I said like I wouldn't do it, and I had to cancel that and do another one the next day to talk about Anthony Davis. What it seems in all these kind of deals before we kind of talk about AD and Trae and all that is that from a Raptors perspective, they clearly want to do some cleanup work. But the cleanup work is getting tougher and tougher to do because of the CBA. Folks don't want to take on your bad contracts, we'll say. And so taking on a Poeltl, if Poeltl didn't have his extension, would be a lot more advantageous for teams. Taking on a Quickley could reportedly require picks to move, because while it's not as bad as other contracts, it's still the length of the deal, and you're locked into this type of playing style because you're not going to not play a guy who's making $30 million if he's healthy. So I think that's a good segue. What did you guys think of the Trae Young deal? Beyond, I'll go to you. I actually liked it, by the way, for the Wizards. So yeah.
I'm looking here. I want to go back because I wanted to double check what we have here when it comes to this deal. Overall, I must admit, I thought you could got more for Trae. That part surprised me. That I thought they could get a little bit more than what they ended up getting. I mean, they ended up getting CJ McCollum, who's got a couple years left.
No, he's expiring.
Inspired, right? So like, yeah, but I guess as a career in this case, I don't know how much longer he's going to play.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's expiring, so that part is good. Kispert, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they didn't get any other potential benefits from a draft perspective.
Washington's picks are too good to get to trade. That's the problem.
Second round or something like that to throw in there. Like, I'm just really surprised. Is like, that's what you got. Like, the guy's a 4-time All-Star. He's like usually leading the league in assists. He's not like he's scrub in this sense. I thought a little bit. I thought I think they could have waited this out a little further and kind of see what else was out there before they kind of decided to go down that route. I was a little surprised. I don't know if Trae was actually kind of lighting the fire behind the scenes, which it seems like he has been, that forced their hand a bit more. So that, I mean, there's always something to consider too. But I thought they could have gotten more for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think from an Atlanta perspective, the challenge is this: if you're gonna favor picks, the problem is that they don't really control their pick, really, at all. They have, I believe, the Bucks pick. They don't really. I guess their pick is like top 4 protected, but more or less like they're actually no, it's not. Sorry, they own the Pelicans pick, but they themselves can't tank because their pick is owned by one of the teams that people don't want to tank, which is the Spurs.
Right.
So you have to be halfway decent. And moving forwards, Atlanta, yeah. And then, you don't care about the Bucks or the Pelicans, whoever falls out, I'll take it.
I guess what I'm saying is I think they could have their cake and eat it too. I mean, they could, they're a little bit below, they're a little below 500 right now. Fair enough. But I think they're going to be in the teams of a draft pick if they're in their spot where they usually are anyhow in that position. And I think they could have gotten a little bit of a draft compensation for someone else, and maybe arguably a player could help the moment. But this one here, they're acting as if they're going to be a big game hunter in the summertime.
Well, who did you have in mind? Well, I think also you have to remember they locked up money with guys like Jalen Johnson, and then they have other contracts that are coming up. So
I guess I guess I'm just thinking more to fill out the back end of the roster for like more youth and stuff like that, like where they can have another guard coming up. Because let's face it, they were already planning that with Kobe Buffkin. That was the plan, right?
yeah,
So they
originally.
had that in mind for a couple of years to have a guy that's a perimeter guy that could give you a little something on the outside. They don't have anything still really on that front. With all due respect to the great barrier thief, that's not really his type of role. And then you look I mean, unless they're going to turn Reshane into a two guard, which might be the case. I mean, which what I'm looking at now, it may be. But I just think they're a little thin in the backcourt, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, CJ McCollum, he can be here to your point, and like Corey Kispert really ain't moving the needle. I just thinking, like,
No.
like in a way, I almost would prefer that Washington deal if they say, okay, give me Bub.
So you're not even thinking of another
No,
player.
like even the Washington deal, like they told me
Yeah.
Carrington and McCollum.
Yeah.
At least I can say, okay, I get that. Carrington could be a future guy. In this case, it could be a dude that could be starting for your sixth man at least. Corey Kispert, no disrespect, he's having a nice season, but like that
Yeah.
doesn't, to your point, McCollum's out the door. So I'm like, huh?
I guess the problem with that is that then once you're starting to add, it's figuring out the salaries. It probably doesn't quite work because to get Bob Carrington, I'm not looking at it because I know that Washington could more easily absorb salary at the time. But the problem is from Atlanta, okay, you want Bob Carrington, but then what are you giving up to get Bob Carrington? And it's like I don't know what they're giving, what they want to give up.
I'm looking at it from Atlanta's perspective. You all ain't playing him anyway. So like, what?
You mean Washington? Washington? You mean?
Yeah, Washington didn't play.
But I'm saying Atlanta to absorb his salary, they'd have to give something up. So who are they giving up to get? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure off the roster off the top of my head, but I'm sure you could throw something in there to kind of make the money work.
It's not great because the money that's kind of in that kind of range, you're still looking at like maybe a Ricochet. No, they're in a way they're a young roster, but they're not young if that makes sense.
Yeah. We don't want to give up Newell either. So right, like,
yeah, Newell is like a no, especially since now there's rumors of Okongwu being out, which makes sense. He's not a center, but yeah.
But he's the dude I was thinking of.
He makes too much money. He just got a re-up.
He got his deal.
So it's like $15 million ish or 13 or whatever he's making. I can't remember off the top of my head versus $6 or whatever $7 million. It's just not really. It's tough. It like that. That's where it's like it just may not have worked out.
Yeah, maybe another dance partner might have been a possibility too. It's always difficult
because that's the thing. It's like I heard like Sacramento, and then at that point, it's like Trae might be like I'm good.
You don't want to deal with the cows.
Yeah, like I'm good, and because he with the player option this summer, he does have some sort of level of leverage over where he's going to end up. So
true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Trae gets to play with Sarr now. That's what I like about this.
Well, that is going to be fascinating to watch, right? Because
really
that was the deal when we draft day a couple of years ago. That's what we were seeing the other way around.
Yep, that's what they should have done all along.
It ends up happening the other way around, but that is going to be a fun. That's going to be a fun combo.
Well, here's what I think Washington will do. Ken, you gotta have to check it. Does the Knicks own their pick if it's past top 8? So
for this year?
Yeah. I believe the Knicks have their pick if it's past the 8th or 10th pick. So Washington kind of has to be bad. And I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to do what Toronto did last year. Trae,
actually, they have full control over their pick this year. Washington does.
Oh, they do. Okay, so I was thinking, well, they're going to be bad anyway. So you're going to go into next year with Trae Young, Trey Johnson. That as a backcourt, that might get you, 55 to 60, maybe 50 points potentially from a backcourt. And then you're going to have Sarr, you're going to have George, and Koulibaly. They're going to have a high pick this year. Imagine if that's Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson, our guy beyond my guy from UNC. Add that with Sarr. There's something building in Washington, but you're going to need more defense around Trae. That's obvious. Sarr is a good start. You need more.
I think it's a good point. It's a really good point for sure. It's tough. I mean, I like it from a just focusing on Washington. I like it. They didn't really give up much. To Beyond's point, it's a 4-time All-Star. Yeah. He's been an All-NBA player at least, I think, once. And he can run an offense. And most importantly, if you're trying to develop a team, you want to get guys into spots. And I think and organize your offense. It clearly hasn't worked with Bob Carrington. So that tells you a lot, in my opinion. So I actually like it from their perspective. From Atlanta's perspective, I kind of get it. I do agree. They probably could have gotten more, but then it's like, you're negotiating with Sacramento, and what are you getting from Sacramento from a salary-wise to get to make it work? Do you really want to take on Zach LaVine? No, right? Do you really want DeMar DeRozan? Not really. And then you're not getting the expiring deal.
Okay, here's one other team I would wonder a little bit, and this is a team that I can see it. Chicago.
Yeah, but they already have Kobe White and Josh Giddey.
Yeah, true.
So it's like
I don't know if to keep them both of them.
No, but they just re-upped both recently.
Yeah. I know they re-upped both, but I mean, like, yeah.
Like, so it's like decisions need to be made. I mean, unless they're going to do Vucevic, but then that's a cramped backcourt. To your point.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
I can hear you really great. So I think the thing is I mean, I think we've kind of picked this one to death, but
no more trade talk with my man TJ for a while.
Yeah, exactly. I know that they were in the hunt for a certain Anthony Davis, just to kind of move over to the Anthony Davis point. Atlanta was, and I think that's dead now.
Okay, hold on. We got one more thing. Come on, man.
What?
Okay, we need to talk about this.
What?
I want to know who leaked what out to Grange.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I find that fascinating.
I mean, I kind of hinted at it at the beginning, but it's like, you can get into it.
Yeah, we can't tiptoe around this one because I want to know who. It's like deep throat in the garage right now in Watergate. I want to know who leaked what out and when. Who gave the vanilla envelopes? I want to know, because for a team that's right now where it's at, the man just hit a game winner, and you would think, okay, everyone's all happy in the T-Dot. Someone doesn't leak that out. Now, sometimes you would think it's the player's agent that wants out, but I don't think Quickley wants to go anywhere. So now, okay, who's option 2 now? I'm like, clue, who's the other suspects going on here? Because who would be leaking that out?
Yeah, the amount. It would have to be someone in the front office. I doubt it is a player. Because they would the details of the deal wouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying.
That way, so
it was like pretty much like, it was like no one was asking for that. Now the blue, like 24 hours later, plat is like no one was sitting around going like, ooh, there was smoke around Quickley. No one was talking about this.
There was a few Raptor fans that thought they're like, the most logical option is like here, and I'm like,
yeah, but that's like every day on Tuesday with Raptor fans.
That's true. They're like looking at we're in the mix again.
We're in the mix, right? That's our reputation. We're in every trade deal. All right, but like my point is like no one is really amongst Raptor brass or Raptors media rumoring, saying there's rumors that they're talking about a quick nothing. If you told me that Barrett came up in this case, I'm like, okay, that Barrett, the coach's man has been tossed around like everywhere, like day old socks. Like he tossed around everywhere. But Quickley was supposed to be part of the promise plan, right? He had the deal done. $32 million. I want to see you play with Scotty. That's what they put on open gym.
Yeah, they were even willing to put up. And this again goes back to my point about the CBA. They were willing to put in picks as well to get off his money. To then, give me something else, which tells me that they probably weren't going to pay, Trae long term either.
Well, it gives great insight into either the man himself, Bobby Webster, Mr. Shaggy. It gives a great insight into him, or someone else in there is really looking to kind of make his life hard because you paid a man a year ago. Everything's supposed to be good, and now to your point, you want to get off him so bad. You're willing to throw in picks for a team that don't have a lot in the cupboard. Like this ain't the Spurs we don't have extras, but we do have full control over our future. Yeah, but it's kind of like when you have folks come to the house in this case, man. This is all we got in this case here. We got a couple cookies in this case here. We got much more than that. Okay, want some tea with it? That's all we got. Like we got no packs in the back.
There's definitely no room for people to come with. You were making a point about Trae.
The point I was making about Trae Young was Trae at least offers a skill set that we need is 3-point shooting, and he can take
Yeah.
over some games, and he's won some playoff series. Ja Morant shooting 20% from three. That ain't going to help this team.
No.
You got LaMelo Ball, who I like. I like his talent. That skill set's not going to help this team, especially from beyond the arc. This gets back again to roster construction. You don't have enough 3-point shooting. You don't have enough size. The only one that made a little bit of sense for me in all these rumored deals was Anthony Davis, because the center spot is something you need to address. You need to address that. Point guard spot, I'm not too concerned.
To be fair, LaMelo's shooting 37.4%.
Usually a pretty 3-point shooter. He's actually respectable. He's always usually pretty respectable.
And on his career, he's shooting around 36.6%. So
yeah.
it's not terrible.
No, LaMelo's issue is shot selection.
Yes, like he will just have a random moment where he's like, "I'm gonna just take a step back three, looking away like this, and just see if it goes in."
Yeah, he can shoot. Like,
okay, I don't know why you did that.
With him sometimes that's his issue, but like, I mean, to Quickley's point, I just don't get what's going on in the Raptors front office that someone would leak this out. That's the part I'm still trying to grab.
Yeah.
Considering the team is in a decent position overall, this is the best Quickley's played for the whole season, probably.
Yes.
Well, the bar's low. Okay.
No, man. I'm also thinking, it's time to go.
But your point. Okay, what does that say around the league? Where they're like, nah, we're good. Even with the picks, we're good.
Yeah, we want CJ McCollum.
Right.
Expiring. And we don't even want the pick. No, we're good.
That's all money, though. That's just money related.
Yeah, but sometimes you're willing to swallow.
Yeah. But it means that he's not playing up to snuff.
Yeah, because it's not like he's an old player and he's like, oh, we don't want that. He's an old player and we don't want that. It's like
he's in the prime of his career.
He's like he's 26 or something like that. It's like, whoa. And you're like, nah, we're good. I said it before, man. You better big for the word expansion.
Yeah. You and I have been lockstep on that. I mean, I agree with that. And, to move on to the AD of it all, again, for Atlanta, I think that they're done with this because if he's going to be injured, because their whole point is they don't want to tank this year. They don't have control of their pick for a couple of years. So I think that they're, they've identified some guys and they're just going to kind of go for it. And they're going to probably hold on to that Pelicans pick for dear life unless something really, really good comes along. Like it has to be like a Giannis level thing. Otherwise, we're good. So, but AD was a thought. The reason why I wouldn't make any of these deals, but if I were to, the AD one was moderately interesting, was there was talk of getting off Poeltl's deal. And it's like, okay, at least when one is healthy, it's only for 2 years, and when one is healthy, he can at least give you something. When Poeltl's been healthy, it's like, can you give me 7 minutes? It's like, no mas. It's not looking great. So that's kind of my thoughts on those. And so that brings us to the two ones. The least interesting is Sabonis. But everyone's clamoring over a center but Sabonis. And my thing is, CMB is playing well. And right now, unless you're getting a guy who can really put you over the top, you're going to basically bring someone in and not really help him to free up minutes at that spot. And I don't know if that's worth it in the long run.
This whole discussion is just driving me crazy about this because once again, you heard earlier, this Band-Aid solutions, and they're bad Band-Aids. They're not even a proper solve in this case here. This is like
it's like duct tape.
Duct tape, yeah. Duct tape's more effective than what they're giving out here, man. Like duct tape, or at least they're trying to give some type of like Gorilla Glue. Like, no, man, this is not it, man. Like Sabonis, you might as well just right now, just put me on my misery now. You're gonna give me Sabonis. Like,
why do you not like Sabonis? I have my own reasons, and I want to know what Coach thinks as well. But why don't you like Sabonis?
Here's the thing. Funny enough, I do like Sabonis overall. I like Sabonis. Funny enough, of all the Gonzaga guys that came out, he's my favorite Gonzaga guy coming out. Funny enough, But the problem,
You like Suggs though, so I don't know.
Suggs, but I like Sabonis more than Suggs.
Okay.
Yeah, in some ways I do like Sabonis. I like him as a prospect more than Suggs. But my thing with Sabonis is that I feel you have similar ways in this case with Anthony Davis. One for an offensive standpoint, one for a defensive standpoint. These are all great dudes as number 2 dudes. And Sabonis probably is a number 3 dude. But they're not guys that elevate your team. So what are we doing here? And then they don't solve the issue you need. At least from the Sabonis standpoint. He doesn't solve what you need. He's not gonna be a defensive stalwart.
Well, again, keep in mind we are fielding a top 5 defense, but when you do take out some of your defensive players to put him into your starting lineup, it's probably not going to be as.
This is the dirty little secret. I didn't get a chance to discuss it with the defensive side, but this is the dirty little secret. It's happened this year. Well, I am pretty sure that the metrics of the defensive side are going to show every time that the bench is actually in full complement. In other words, the 5 or so that dark side you have at the beginning of the season are in play, and there's no injuries involved. The Raptors defense improves. So that means Shed, Walter, Grady, CMB, and probably Mammoth, right? That's the 5. The moment you get 2 dudes in the starting line that are out, they're actually very good. They're defensive liabilities. You think, well, that should be good. That's good. We got more defensive guys. But the problem is, you fill those guys backfill and come up. And on the back end now, you're dealing with guys like, Chucky Hepburn, and AJ Lawson, and whomever else. And that's where all of a sudden it starts to slide now, in this case, in my opinion. Now, Scotty's done a good job of holding down the fort, and as Coach says, CMB's done his part, and guys like Jacobe are getting more minutes now because we don't have to play Ochai. Because once you do that and injuries start happening, you have to play Ochai and guys like that. Therefore, the defense drops. I will say this, though, to your point, if you put Sabonis in there, I know that coach. It's going to be like a wet dream for him. Trust me when I say so, man. It's like, oh my gosh, Sabonis at the elbow, the hub. Good grief.
Yeah. The other thing is we don't really – he's more of a handoff guy, and we do like pick and pitch type stuff. And, I mean, there's ways to make it work with Sabonis, but it's not going to be the best.
Did you not watch the footage of the Raptors last couple of years when we trapped the Sabonis and you had like a triple-double in turnovers?
Yeah. It's I'd like to not. So, but I understand that everyone is like, we need a big. The interesting thing, finally, is the Trey Murphy of it all. Now, I brought it up to people before, and they haven't liked it because they're like, he's somewhat injury prone or whatever. It's like, sure, you could say that he's a young player, he's in the prime of his career, and he would be a talent upgrade. And you would have to consolidate one of the bench guys as well as RJ to do it. I think it makes some level of sense because you're getting the talent upgrade, and it's looking beyond right now. It's just, but I don't know if it solves it doesn't. You're probably not going to get him by giving up quickly is my point. So
yeah. Just that last part, sorry, back to Sabonis and Anthony Davis for a second. Again, my favorite, and I mentioned this on my little show, is I liked Anthony Davis of all the rumored players, him coming here. Why? I think they have the best front court in the East if you get Ingram, Scotty, and Anthony Davis on one team. Now, is there incredible risk that come with that? Of course. I mean, you have to give Alex McKechnie the key to the province, not the city, the province of Ontario, if he kept Anthony Davis and Brandon Ingram healthy. And it's about talent acquisition at the end of the day as well. I just don't see how this team is going far with Jakob Poeltl as center. We're the only team who gave him a 5-year extension. So you're going to be paying someone at 35 years old to play center for this team. That doesn't make any sense at all. We bet against ourselves again. Had that contract.
I think what Coach is getting at is that it's really tough to make it work, and Anthony Davis is someone who could. I think the challenging thing is you look at Anthony Davis and he doesn't solve the offensive woes. He makes it better because he can drive, get some sort of level of gravity, but he's not consistently on the court, which makes it hard for building some sort of a consistency. And then beyond that, I think, I just look at Anthony Davis and I'm like, you still don't have a point guard who can get him the ball in the spots that he needs, that you want to get him the ball.
Well, this is where things would get frightening with Anthony Davis, right? Like Anthony Davis in a bubble. Anthony Davis seems like the right pick. Like it's like, oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Both literally and figuratively.
Yes. It's like, oh my goodness. But when you look at Anthony Davis and you get all the intangibles, then it gets really scary to your point. The injuries are the biggest one, is the obvious one. But there's also the mentality and the attitude. Like Anthony Davis at Dewey will check out on you in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat if he thinks there's no really chance of winning.
Yeah, the soft nature doesn't really change from that standpoint. So continuing on from that, it's like
Well, one other thing too, it's almost in this case here when you're giving someone that has an addiction what they want. So Anthony Davis would love to shoot 17-foot jump shots all day. Well, guess what? Offense will give him all the jump shots he wants.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, without the right point guard, it's tough to make it work, because like you want his downhill gravity, him as a potential lob threat, him as you want him close to the basket, whether he likes it or not. Like and then it's just kind of compounding the issue. It's like basically in some ways it's like he's like the ultimate better version of Scotty.
Yes.
Right? Where it's like, dude, you should be doing this. He's just like, I don't want to do that.
But he's just more talented. And the thing is,
and more injury prone.
Yeah, he doesn't like playing center. He does not want to play center. Yep. Time and time again throughout his career, he doesn't want to play center. Even though the proof is in the pudding. He won a championship playing center. He still does not want to play center. Yeah. Their most effective season in Los Angeles, he's playing center. And he's like, no, I don't want to play center. So what do you think is going to happen here? Where he doesn't have any sort of player that can kind of check him like LeBron or anything like that. He doesn't have in this case here a potential market that he might want to stay around for, so he's going to kind of play nice. The moment, if he, to coach's point, the moment he gets the money, he's out mentally. He's checked out.
Yeah, I think the other key thing with our situation is just because of team construction, because of all of these things, it's better to not spend too many assets or assets at all, if at all possible, in terms of draft equity. And unless you're getting a young guy like Trey Murphy, it's like, okay, I can be sold on that. It's not perfect, but I can be sold on it because at least it's a talent upgrade. He's young enough and he's done a little bit of things. It's like, okay, I can, from a basketball standpoint, I understand it. But even that, it's like I really don't feel comfortable giving up picks when this team is in a very interesting place where it's like, should this team be built the same way in 3 years from now? Probably. And
for Anthony Davis for the third,
just in general.
Oh, I would be open to giving a pick for the third.
But you don't see this team being the same 3 years from now.
It shouldn't be.
All right. So
it shouldn't be.
So yeah.
Well, I don't know what the dude up in the big seats doing these days. I mean, he's giving guys with bad backs in this case, $25 million. So I don't know what to make.
True.
And then putting out rumors about the other guy he paid $32 million to a year later. So I don't know what to make of this team.
We'll let. Oh, you're all good, Coach. We're gonna give you the last word, and then we're gonna end it there. I think it's a good place to end. I think that is a pod. So yeah, your final thoughts on just like the potential. Like, is there someone? Like, are you so obsessed with getting a center that you need a Sabonis, or are you willing to kind of forego that and just say, maybe that deal is not for me?
Well, you don't have to do a super mega deal. You could go around the edges. The Anthony Davis deal intrigued me at the time because he was working his way back with Dallas. But I see Dallas's point. We're not doing that deal. We're not taking 5 years of Poeltl. Like, that doesn't make any sense. They seem to be intrigued with RJ enough because they're so frustrated with Anthony Davis. And I just looked at it from Toronto's perspective. I'm thinking, what other front court in the East is going to match up with Toronto if I get...
Right.
But well, Coach, this is the reason why I don't get it. Like, the RJ Gafford deal is sitting right there.
No, it's not because of the money. There's a difference in money, and it just doesn't work.
Well, who's wait, I'm trying to remember.
Your team would have to give up more to make it work.
Yes.
Because
that's what I'm saying. We have to throw something else in.
No. I mean, like it has to be more than just Gafford.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
It worked.
But I don't know what, just in terms of salary, what other things make it work. That
I don't know. I mean,
Gafford and Lively work from like a financial standpoint. Doesn't work from like another standpoint.
No,
this goes back to like the Washington Wizards standpoint, where it's like, okay, well, they didn't give up a lot to get Trae. It's like, yeah, because it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, but you can throw in something like, I don't know, Nemhard and something else in there that you can.
Nemhard doesn't work because he's a two-way, so that doesn't even count against the cap.
He's two-way, yeah.
See, this is my point, right? Like, it's like there's a weird, and then you look at like Clay. It's like Clay makes a bit too much, and also like it's like, okay, well, the whole point was to like free up space for younger guys. So it's not as easy, to yeah.
Just said too in his article, they're scouring the league to find a home for Ochai. They've done this themselves.
I think the guy you mentioned
he could have been gone last year.
Was PJ Washington. Najee Marshall, perhaps one of them,
Yeah, but Najee Marshall's too good to do that. For just Ochai? And he makes too much money, too.
I'm talking about for RJ.
Oh, okay.
That's the deal I'm thinking of, right? I think the coach's point, you could trim that down and just make RJ the focal point if you're Dallas and say, okay, let's start from there. If it's Gafford you want, okay, then what can we do to get over the line? I don't think I agree with Coach's point. Why are we going for Anthony Davis? If anything, Gafford's a much more plausible solution for the Raptors. He actually fits more of the role of what they want right now, in my mind.
Because I don't think that they see Gafford as a starting level center, and he's not. He shouldn't be starting on a good team.
They got right now is not a starting level center.
Yeah, but you don't want to double down on that issue. Now,
Gafford's a better player than him.
He is, but that's the problem, right? So it's like you're now elevating. It's like, I'm not saying he's Kem Birch, but it's like, imagine a healthy Kem Birch. It's like, okay, Kem Birch, he wins minutes, he blah blah blah, all this type of stuff. But it's like, it's still Kem Birch, right? He's not doing all of that. So
I guess I look at it as like, now I have, wherever he decides to come back, the Austrian Hammer comes back. At least I now have 2 7-footers now on the team. At least I have some size now, because we never had size for like 5 years now.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst thing, but it doesn't really answer the questions that they seem to be hinting at them wanting to fix, which is, aside from fitting a need, it seems like they're most interested in moving off this contract. They're more interested in the cleanup work, if we're going to take any stock into these rumors.
Okay, so to your point, the rumors. So then what we're saying is he truly is Shaggy in this case here, and he was held at gunpoint to make these signings. Because we got the
no, it was him.
I know it was him. It was him.
But regardless of that, I think it's just more, okay, I made a mess. I got to get off this.
Okay, so either way, he's either admitting the mess, or he's pretty much, in this case, he was taking some type of drugs by someone else to go and make the deals. In this case,
yes.
One or the other. He knows in this case he done goofed up because he's putting rumors out there on IQ, and now he's trying to move off of Poeltl.
Correct. So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is like, you got to clean up the mess, and that is part of his job. I mean, regardless of your standing in the East, which is good right now as of now. We'll see that we have a couple injuries, of course, and it is quite close. So, like, again, a bad week or two could completely shift where your position is in the East. We'll see. We're not going to get into that right now.
I would call the Pelicans, see if I can get Yves Missi. See if you can get a young big who's not playing very much. That would be my. You'd have to give him a pick, a second or something, but.
But here's the problem, Coach, is again, you get Yves Missi, and it's like, does that eat into CMB minutes? You see how it's like everything is a domino.
I don't think it would.
I don't think it would. I think
with this coach,
center.
With Mamu and this coach.
Well, that's the issue, the coach, because really CMB should be playing a 3-4, not playing a 5. That's the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right.
I think in some ways getting rid of Ochai will free up minutes for a number of guys, especially CMB. Funny enough, but yes, I agree. I think. I'm not opposed to getting Missi if that's the direction.
Honestly, to your point, that's another dude they should consider trading while his value's up. Mamu.
Yeah.
If you throw him in.
Yeah, probably.
We moved on. We've seen enough. Give the kid the minutes, man. We're done. And whoever you get back from him gets the rest of the minutes. in the first
Yeah,
quarter.
I mean your 3-point shooting. Not that Mamu's like an amazing 3-point shooter, but your 3-point shooting would go down in that case. But I mean there's an argument for both keeping and trading Mamu Gavishvili if they want to. I mean he's shooting almost 38% this year. So I mean, in terms of spacing the floor or whatever, there's value in it. So maybe not. But I either way, there should be ways to open up minutes, and I think Ochai for Missi is one. It's one of the only ones that I've heard of that I'm like, okay, you have me intrigued, and it kind of makes sense for both teams. But my whole point is, I don't really, other than for a young prospect like a Missi, I'm not really interested in doing a lot of pick-heavy deals or anything like that in general.
So I'll just say this, because I know we're wrapping up. I think the fun starts next week for the Raptors.
Why? Because Poeltl's available.
No. Because the Raptors head past the Mason-Dixon line for the first time this year, and we're gonna find out now. We can have some fun, get some sleep. For some of you guys, in this case here, have little ones. It might work out that you can watch the West Coast games since you'll be up already.
True. The
fun starts with the Lakers, and we're gonna see, because now we're gonna see when they head out west.
The fun might be starting. Actually, at the time of filming this tonight and the next night, actually, because if Embiid's healthy and they're playing the Sixers, who are hot on their tail, those next two games could be that could flip it. That's who's behind you. That's who's chasing you right now.
Yeah, they've dodged the bullet a few times this year in these type of games where they've had some miracle comeback or hit a 3 at the end of the buzzer.
I mean, even just the Pelicans just now. Yeah. Or sorry, the Hornets that they just faced. Where it's just like,
yes! They've stayed above the line with those wins. Of course, the miracle comebacks over the holiday, they've survived the line a couple times. But
also adding to the fact that Scotty is questionable for tonight's game. We'll see how that kind of persists. Obviously Poeltl is Poeltl. Ingram is now getting his yearly maintenance done. And RJ is I believe he's out as well. So the Better Business Bureau is not looking so great with their certification.
A sprained thumb. There's a lot you do with your thumb. I'm double jointed my thumb, but there's a lot you do with your thumb in basketball. That's not going to be.
Hey,
I hope
Coach,
it's just as mild sprain.
Coach, people said the same thing about the ankle. I'll leave it at that. That's a good place to end. People said the same thing about the ankle. He did return eventually.
They don't make it like they used to, right, dog?
They don't. They don't make them like they used to. Okay. That being said, it's Basketball Rewind. Take care, people. Peace. And hopefully this finds you well. And enjoy.